Hello, 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 and welcome to Auntie Talks and Listens, where I talk to everybody about a lot of things. Today, I am joined by two of my favorite young people, my Gen X guest in residence, Tenisha Tate-Austin, and our podcast editor, Alex Jacke. Hey guys, can you guys
Hello.
introduce
Hello.
yourselves?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Tenisha Tate-Austin, and I am a Bay Area resident, originally from Los Angeles, California, West Side. I am a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur. I own a consulting firm that works with schools and school districts to help with their diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy to make sure that our schools are more inclusive and create a culture of belonging. And I would say I spend most of my time either on a field or in a gym, not because I'm working out, but because my my freshman son is an avid athlete.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome, T.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And yes, my name is Alex Jacke. Like Tracy said, I am a singer, songwriter, and actor, originally from Los Angeles, California. I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia, out here working on music as well as pursuing my acting career. I'm currently on a show called A la Carte, which is on Amazon Prime that you can stream right now. Um, I am a brother, I am a son, I am a black man and a child of God, most importantly. I worked with Kanye West for 4 years. I traveled the world with him with Sunday Service, and that was a great experience. I've worked with different artists like Escape, Kehlani, Charlie Wilson, amongst others as well. And now I'm focusing on me. So I have a project coming out later this year that I'm excited about, as well as coming out with new music in the next couple months. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Thank you, guys. Audience, as you can see, I have got two very talented and accomplished young folks here with me. And in addition to, both are very easy on the eye. And I would warn you though, I would warn you, if you are going to watch a la carte, please be prepared for some serious steaminess. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have to from time to time avert my eyes.
uh,
All right. Well, folks, as you will learn by listening to Auntie Talks and Listens, I am a baby boomer. I am a confessed social media addict.
Mhm.
And
Yes, she is,
through
y'all.
my, I am a teenager when it comes to social media. I'm trying in 2024 to work on. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not willing to just go off the gram, go off TikTok, but I am trying to reduce my consumption. But I
I'll,
also tell
I'll
myself
believe it when I
that it
believe
is
it.
needed for my job. What's that, T?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Listen, I have to do this as part of my research for this podcast. So listen, this is in the line of work. Okay. All right. But through my IG scrolling, I started to see what felt like to me was a significant amount of misogyny. And I was extremely disturbed by that. And I mentioned it to some folks, and I'll be honest, most of the folks in my peer group didn't seem to know what I was talking about. But when I mentioned it to Alex, Alex was like, heck yeah, it is definitely out there and happening. And I also mentioned it to one of my cousins, or he actually brought it to my attention and said, this is something that you should talk about. So
Mhm.
today, I want us to chat. I want to chat about, do we believe men and women are at war with each other? And if so, why? And do we think this is particularly prevalent in the Black community with Black men and
Hmm.
women? What do y'all think?
T, you can.
Um,
I'll let you start. T, ladies first.
you think so? Okay. Well, I feel like first of all, the term war is like harsh. Like that sounds like whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. Like that just sounds way too harsh. Um, I also think to answer that question, it depends on like where you are, who you are, how you live. So I'm just gonna talk from my perspective. And personally, I don't feel like Black men and Black women are at war. Like, I feel like we're working together. I feel like we are supporting each other. I feel like we are loving each other, having good supportive relationships. But that's just my personal um,
Mm.
perspective. I realize that I'm not like on the gram like some of us are. I realize that I'm not on social media. Like, I don't go out. I live in a suburb for the most part. So, and I'm married, so I'm not single. So I'm not living that particular sort of lifestyle. So I'm just
Mhm.
bringing my perspective to this conversation. So, no, we're not at
And
war with each other.
T, can I ask you, do you mind, how old are you?
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm
All
gonna
right,
say,
we'll just leave it at your Gen X. We'll leave it
I'm
at
going
your
to
Gen X. That's
say
fine.
I am
That's
a
fine.
Gen X.
So that's fine. You didn't want to share your age. We'll just say you're Gen X, T. That's cool. So Alex, what is your perspective? I certainly have a perspective from a what I would call your auntie who is on the gram constantly, who knows what's going on in these streets.
Yes,
I'm
you do.
watching it.
Yeah. Um, I think that's a beautiful perspective that you have, T. You have a you're a rarity. Well, I wouldn't say you're a rarity. I think that outside of the media, that is a reality. I think more
Mhm,
importantly, when we say are men and women at war, I think we're talking about through the eyes of the media. And I want to even get a little bit more descriptive. It's not just our men and women, it's Black men and women.
mhm,
Mm,
I think that there is a narrative being pushed right now. And I think
mhm,
that it has a lot to do with social media. Absolutely, it has a lot to do with just the culture, the music. You know what I'm saying? What we're
mm.
seeing
Woo.
on the gram, what we're listening to in the music of today, and it hasn't been like that. This is a newer thing. I mean, there used to be, you had groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire. You had the OJs. You had people talking about love and relationships. Nowadays, it's not so much. Nowadays, the more popular music is, you know, I got options. You know what I'm saying? I
mm,
don't need a man. I don't need a woman. You know what
mhm,
I'm saying? I got something on the side. I got a side piece. All these different things, which yes, can be a sign of the times and stuff, but that's being overly promoted. And then you have people that are capitalizing on it in podcasts. When we talk about
mhm,
male misogyny and, you know, certain female perspectives, we're doing a lot of things for clickbait because we know that's going to get things talking about. They're going to get things talked about. So I think that the more accurate statement would be men and women at war, or Black men and women at war. I think they are, but it's through the eyes of the media, and it's the narrative that's being told right now. But I do agree with you, T, is that that's not an 100% thing. I think that things exist outside of that. Black love is flourishing at an all-time high outside of that world.
mhm,
I heard a couple things there. That number one, some promising and some concerning. So I heard T saying, hey, I don't know what life you guys are living, but that's not my world. That's not my reality. Right? Right.
Yeah.
I'm over here with my man, with my husband and my children, and we are all about lifting each other up. And so are the other Black folk that I am in company with. But I would also say, I like Alex. I am, and I didn't even expect it to go in this direction, Alex. So I love your perspective as a creator, as a musician, taking us here.
mhm,
I
mhm,
definitely struggle with the music. Lord have mercy. I mean, why, why is it in hip hop, in my mind, that Black women are spoken of as such objects and so negatively? It is extremely disturbing to me. And I
Mm,
know that there is other music that is positive, but that music is so pumped into mainstream and to young people, really young people, our teens, that it concerns
Mm-hmm.
me about the
Yeah.
message that is being given to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, what were you gonna say, T?
well, I appreciate that perspective too, but I want to like pose a like question here or like so I was watching Dear Mama last night, Tupac's the latest biography, and I just read the authorized biography, right? And so his challenge at the or even when I think about growing up in the 90s, there was a lot of music that was misogynistic towards women. Um, and Alex, you mentioned like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you think it's because there's only one narrative that's out there and there's not a counter conversation that's happening on in mass media is why we feel like it's more prevalent? Because I feel like it's always existed. It's just that maybe there isn't a counter conversation that's happening or that's being promoted.
I think that there's an intentionality behind what's being pushed.
Mm.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I think that that's what's selling,
Ooh.
of course. And I think that that's what people are into. You like if you listen to the music, that's the more popular thing. Now there is another narrative. Like there's songs about love. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, but you're not going to hear them like that. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to hear them like on a TikTok. You're not going to hear them on the radio. You know, it's because this is what's in right now. It's just what's in. It's and it's it's unfortunate, but that is it's all coinciding together. And we talk about rap songs talking about women, but I think there's also female rappers in the way that they are talking about it's like shit is so transactional now, excuse my language.
For real.
We look at everything as a transaction. We have
Mm-hmm.
female artists, rappers that are talking about, yo, I get this. If you want this from me, you gotta pay this. You gotta do this.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm
I
saying? So it's like okay, they flipped it. As men have looked at women as sort of like objects, and women are saying, okay, yeah, there is a price to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you gonna
well
pay it or
well
not?
so a couple things for me are surfacing in this conversation, and I'm actually, instead of starting to feel better, I'm starting to get more disturbed, and I will tell you why. Um, I do know that there's other music out there. I listen to some of that other music. Um, but I think in terms of almost what I would call pop rap or pop hip hop, that music, as you said, Alex, is both misogynistic and also the female rappers are certainly not speaking well of our men. And so I am starting to ask the question, as you say, that's intentional. When we say it's intentional, is this perhaps also, when we think about how this music is financed, part of a destruction of the Black family?
Mm.
You know, I have to ask that question, because I tell you what has been on my mind lately in alignment with this is, this narrative that the Black woman is the least desired woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what is typically least desired? Whatever the hell it is that you keep saying it is. And if you are a Black man with hip hop music and you're constantly talking about Black women, because the people who are, pardon my language, shaking their ass in your damn video, and that is all they are, is you don't even see their face half the damn time, shaking their ass. If you are objectifying Black women that way, then guess what? We do become the least desirable because you keep saying it. And that's a
Mm,
problem. That is a real problem. And so, are we playing into the hands again of others and allowing them to continue to derail our families?
mm, mm.
You know, that's a really good
Yeah.
question. Um, I think some of that is definitely happening. Alex, you would be able to speak to it, right? Like you're in the industry, so you know firsthand what's going on. Um, But I wonder, like, when I think about like growing up in the 90s and Little Kim and Foxy Brown, and they definitely were pushing the envelope. They were transactional too. They were talking about some things that, you know, people female rappers hadn't talked about before. Like, Queen Latifah and MC Light weren't talking about like getting a due for their money and having, you gotta have a Benz and this and that. And so I think this generation is just like that narrative has been exacerbated. Um, but I'm curious, Alex, from your standpoint, like, do you feel like you said it's intentional? You feel like this is another sort of like attack on our family?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think that, yeah, you look at these big corporations or you look at labels, they're gonna push that. They're gonna push that narrative more than a love song. And if it is a love song, you see who's singing it. You see where it's most popular. A love song sang by Sam Smith is gonna be a bigger record than a love song sang by, we'll
Hmm.
think of a black artist, like, you know what
Wow.
I'm saying? You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? You want to hear something else. We rather hear something else. We rather hear Drake rap
Wow.
about some ratchet
That
shit or
hurts.
something
Yeah.
else
I mean, that actually hurts.
than
That's
love.
seriously
You get what I'm
disturbing.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, but even further than music. So we're talking about the relationship between black men and women. Um, the nature of the black family isn't really shown. It's always the narrative that's pushed is, which is crazy, is when you think about the black family, there's a certain dysfunctionality, or there's someone's not present. The male
Hmm.
is not present in the home.
Hmm.
Um, and I hate that that is kind of the stereotype. Um, there was a time, like I said, we go back where there was a family unit. There were black families. It wasn't like this big. When you think about it, there's so many people that come from a broken home situation. Or it used to be like, no, the black family unit, it was a unit. I think that changed with um, the recession, with jobs being taken away in black communities. And I think the introduction of drugs, we talk about crack,
Hmm.
and we talk about this high incarceration rate. All those things have led to, people coming from broken homes and dealing with different traumatic experiences. So now that's kind of, I hate to say it, it's the promoted norm. I don't say that it is the norm, but
Hmm.
it is the thing that we see, and we're looking at the results of it. So we're looking at the results of that in these conversations between black men and women perspectives, their perspectives on love and their perspectives on relationships, and their perspectives on how we feel about one another.
Hmm.
Um, I agree with you, but I also think, and I don't think that this is uh specific to just the black community. I do believe that we are in a time when men and women are feeling in competition with each other, and where men are not feel that they are feeling that they are as valued as they once were. And
Hmm.
I think that there are some things specifically that are contributing to that. I think for whatever the reasons, women are now getting more advanced degrees than men. I looked at
Hmm.
some statistics from the Blacks in higher education based on the U.S. Census, where it shows that in 2021, of the master's degrees earned, 65% of them in the Black community were earned by Black women, as opposed to 35% for men.
Hmm.
We're not our earnings have not quite matched up with men, and in general, that is the case. that men of all races earn more than their female counterparts, with Asian men earning the most over all folks, men or women, all races. But in every ethnic or racial group, the men still earn more than women. Women still have catching up to do in that regard. But when you look at who is closest to their male counterpart, Black women are closer to Black men's salary than either of the other male populations. So I think when you start
Mm-hmm.
looking at education, when you start looking at finances, when you start to look at the situation that we have now where women can decide when and how they want to have children now. They can go out and um, go to a sperm bank and get themselves artificially inseminated. I think that contributes. And let me say this: I'm I'm all for it. I'm all for that, 100%. But I do think that that can make men feel less than. That is something that was controlled by them in a lot of ways. When you look
Mm.
at where we are with sexuality, these things are progress that people can be more comfortable being openly gay or bisexual or whatever. But I think if you are a heterosexual, male or female, that can make you feel like, well, what? There are fewer women who have to, even if they didn't really want me, they had to act like they wanted me before because it was not socially acceptable for those women or those men. Tanisha's outraged at me to be out in public being gay. And I am happy that people are able to express themselves from a gender, sexuality perspective any way they want to. But I do think that those things, if I were a man, I would perhaps have some feelings that said, wow, am I as desired or needed anymore?
Mm.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you're pretty much saying that you feel like perhaps some men can feel attacked by
Yes,
our societal norms now, and they make them feel like less important because they don't have to be the breadwinner. They're being outperformed as far as education, and they're not needed as much. So that's like a it's like attaching their worth to the fact that they were needed in a particular way, and so they are attaching themselves to that.
I can't imagine that that is not impacting men. I can't. I mean, Alex, what do you think? I know that's tough,
That's
I
but I
don't.
oh,
I don't. That may be, but I don't see that as as big a factor. And also when we talk about you talk about it's impacting other cultures and races. I say the one thing that unfortunately we as Black people don't have, and I've seen when I speak Black African Americans, we don't have a deeper sense of culture just because of the way that we got here. I think in other cultures and other cultures, other races, they have such marriage and like being together is such a like big thing in other cultures that they hold that to the highest esteem. We're not gonna look at somebody from like a Muslim. They're all about when we get together, we're married, we stay together. It's that, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's crazy, whether they fight, they gonna make it work. And I see that in other cultures as well. So I yes, there may be some outliers or whatever the term is. There might be some extenuating circumstances where that may be, but I don't think that that's playing a bigger part. I don't think that that's as big of a factor. That's my personal
Auntie
because
disagrees with you. Auntie
and
disagrees with you,
that's
baby
yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
Auntie
yeah, yeah,
disagrees with you, baby boy. And let me
yeah.
let me let me say um a couple of things. Um Marriage rates are down overall. People aren't getting married as much anymore. I also, and this is very inflammatory about what I'm about to say. we have this whole reversal of Roe v. Wade that has taken place.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the demographic of folks that pushed that? They were white, old men.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they feel that they have lost control of their women.
Mm.
And I believe that is and not only have they lost control of their women, but in losing control of their women, they are also not the majority anymore. That has been one of the factors with women, with us loudmouth ass women trying to control everything and having agency over ourselves. And so what has happened is not enough babies being born, not enough white babies being born.
Mm.
That's what that's
And
about.
so, right, you take that off the table, abortion, and they can get them some more white babies.
Mm.
And so I'm telling you, I think that this is, yes, all I can tell you is you get on social media enough and you will see that it is definitely prevalent, this idea of a division, since
Mm-hmm.
Tenisha doesn't like the word war, and I do agree it is a strong term, but this increased divide amongst men and women, you will see it. There's a guy who has a podcast called No Fugazi.
Oh my goodness.
It is so damn
Yes.
inflammatory.
Yes. But so this is what I'm saying to you. I don't see, and maybe you do. I don't see I don't see in No Fugazi a white version of that. Like I don't see even a white female podcast talking about, the nature of their men. I don't see a white. I don't see an Asian talking about the nature of their women.
Oh,
I
let
see
me tell
that.
you, baby. Let me tell you.
You see
Oh,
it?
so I don't see a white No Fugazi.
Yeah.
But where they are, they're in his damn comments because I drill down on them, and they are like, protect this brother because he is preaching the truth. He is, these women need to be controlled. And in terms of, are there white women talking shit? Oh my God, there are a ton of them.
See,
And let me tell you, I love
I
them.
see.
I love a lot of them. Let me tell you, number one, Chelsea Handler. Oh my God. Oh my
Chelsea
God.
Handler, yeah,
Chelsea is like, you old white stupid MFers. Don't nobody want you, and stop trying to control my uterus. There are a ton of white women who are stepping out and talking trash. A bunch of it. They have podcasts.
Okay.
There's a bunch of them. I'm telling you that we are becoming more divided, men and women, and it is extremely disturbing to me because I would like to see us be in a place that says, and for us all to feel valued in this way. I think need versus want is a struggle for a lot of men. I
Mm.
do. I think that is.
But that's
Mm.
existing.
And yes, but if you're feeling less needed, if you're feeling needed enough, okay. But if you feel these heifers are like, I don't need them,
Right.
I don't. Previously, women couldn't own property. We couldn't do
Mm-hmm.
anything on our own.
I just
Mm-hmm.
struggle with that. I struggle with that because I feel like I would prefer to be wanted instead of needed. Like that means somebody
You as a
is
woman would, as a
so
woman you would, but
I'm
I think
saying,
most Alex, okay, you go ahead, T, because I'm talking all over you.
well, no, I just feel like someone is saying, and this goes back. This is taking me back to a relationship in in college, like where you're right. My partner wanted to be with somebody who needed him versus the fact that I didn't need him. I wanted him, but that to me means more. Like I could take you or leave you, but I still desire you. So that means I feel like that's an increased amount of like attraction versus I'm here because I need you. I don't want to be with somebody who just like needs me.
That's you,
Mm.
T. I mean, I feel the same way, but I don't know that based on a long history that men have of being needed, that is easy to give up.
I want to hear from Alex. What you got
Yeah,
to say?
look. I say it like this. I agree with you. A man wants to be needed. A man wants to be needed and appreciated for being the man that he is. His ambition to be validated. All of these things. I my perspective and my take on it is like this. I mean, we both kind of to blame for this. You know, I think that women may have felt
Mm-hmm.
let down by men at so many points in their life. You know, if a woman didn't grow up with a father in her life, then she learns to not to depend on a man, or didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a strong male influence in her life. She learns to not depend on it. So that trauma could play into her relationship. She's like, I don't need you
For
because,
sure.
I've had to do for myself this whole time,
For
you
sure.
Absolutely.
know? So if there's enough women who grow up like, or have grown up like that, yeah, that's going to be the perspective. So the man, she's looking at the man this way, and the man's like, well, damn, I don't feel validated as a man. So what are we doing?
Yep.
So in turn, she's gonna, her money gonna be right. She gonna be taken, and the man might be around, but you know what he gonna do? He's gonna go find that validation somewhere else.
I agree with you, Alex.
Let's
100%.
unpack that. Let's unpack that. What does that mean? Like, he's gonna. What? How does she show him that?
That's where the side piece was invented, right there.
Woo! Woo! You did not go there. You did not go there.
Yeah, he gonna have a side piece. He gonna have a side piece because she gonna do all the things that the main one doesn't do.
But like
But
what?
but let me
Because I don't need you.
She
I'm
gonna
just
she gonna be the one to be like, yo, she gonna cater to a man's needs of being wanting to feel validated as a man. And this is we're talking about what they call high value men. So if
Oh
you're a high
Lord, here we
value
go.
man and
By the way,
being
Alex,
this,
I hate that damn term. But any rate, go
listen,
ahead.
whether what yeah, the term it's a man. And so I don't know what the criteria, well, I do know what the criteria for high value man is. You make a certain amount of money.
okay.
Okay.
Let's describe it for the listeners because I'm and for me too. Because what is a high value man? Please tell me.
In this social media world, a high value man is someone who makes a certain amount of money. So if you make about over $200,000 a year, which is
Okay.
you're in the top, I think 5% or 1%.
Okay.
Um, just in general, if you make that amount of money, you're in the top, I guess, 1% or 5% of
Okay.
earnings in America, or I believe in America. So you're high value men. So that means you're a provider. That means you have a certain type of income. So you, what they say is you don't have to abide by certain rules in relationships, or you have a
Well,
different you can have a different you can have your way differently, right? This is now I'm just saying I'm speaking objectively. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but if say so a high value man, right? If you're in a relationship and you don't feel your needs are validated, you can have a side piece. And this is what's being promoted. This is what's being pushed. You can have a side piece because what you're not getting from, like you said, your wife or your counterpart, you'll get it from somewhere else if you
okay.
can afford to.
So, what makes that high value man feel like he's doing everything that his partner needs? Like how does he know that he's
Well,
meeting all
there.
her? I'm
That
just
there we go. There we go.
and
No, there we
and
Yeah.
go.
and if your partner is also making $250,000 a year,
Mhm.
is she a high value woman? And is it
Mhm.
okay for her to go out and have a side piece if she's not getting nobody? There, like, let's be realistic here. Like, we're humans. You're not going to be able to completely, someone shouldn't have to complete you. You're not going to be able to satisfy someone 100%. I mean,
Right.
like, some of it has to be work that you got to do on your own. And if I'm making
Absolutely.
250 and you're making 250, and if we can't, or 300, if we can't work together through our
Yeah.
problems,
Well, no, I think you looking at it like the healthy way. We're talking about if you're in a
a good way.
situation
Okay.
and a woman is making you feel like you're not needed in the relationship. I don't need you. I don't need you. If that's what's constantly being pushed, well, then who do need me? If you don't
Mm.
need me, well, I'm gonna find somebody that do.
Okay. Okay.
But
I
my
have.
whole thing is y'all don't need to be together. You
Yes.
don't need to be together. But that's that's can happen in relationships. I'm speaking on what Tracy had pointed out about in relationships, women feeling like they're not, appreciating their man because they got it all themselves. I got it.
Mhm.
I don't need a man. That whole I don't need a man. Sis, you don't need a man. Sis, you don't need a man.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
Wait. But
let
wait.
me
But I
say
Okay.
don't.
this. Let me say this about what I'm hearing in this conversation. Money is a damn problem. And it's a damn problem. It's a damn problem. Because here is what I am hearing is making us feel that we don't need each other, or feeling that it's okay to disrespect someone. The woman is saying, I'm educated, I got a job making plenty of money, I don't need you. As
Mm,
opposed to saying, oh my God, the value that you bring. You may not make the same amount of money that I do, but what an incredible partner you are.
mm,
You help with the kids.
mm,
You allow me to be able to go out and do. You are part of my biggest cheerleading squad, and I am a
mm-hmm.
part of yours.
Yeah.
We grow together as we are thought leaders for both of our stuff. And the men are saying, I got X amount of money, so I don't want smarty pants over there with her ass thinking she don't need nobody. I'm going to take somebody over here who is potentially a high value woman because she's beautiful. She takes care of herself. She's not she promotes my thoughts and doesn't challenge me. And I can have a side piece with her because she doesn't, she needs me, as opposed to, wow, my girl is as bad as I am, and together we're unstoppable.
That's that piece right there about she needs. That's okay. That makes sense to me in the sense of like, oh, if this person is never gonna leave me because she needs me and I can do whatever I want to do. Oh, now I understand why you want to be with somebody who needs you versus wants you. I don't understand, but I understand why some people may think like that. But that to me is crazy. Like I can, like you have to have. That's like a codependent. That's like a saviorism sort of like mentality where you have to be with someone who
You're
needs you.
delusional, T, if you don't think that's happening, though.
I'm
You're
not saying that.
delusional.
No, I'm not saying that it's not happening. I know it's happening. I've experienced it in my life, like in my relationships. I've experienced it. I can name a couple people. You know, some people I'm talking about would
Yeah,
rather be somebody who needs them
yeah.
versus somebody who wants them. But that just to me, I don't want to be with you anyways. Is what I'm saying because
Mm,
that mentality right there, that's a trash mentality, and that's
But
not
let
how
me
you
say
want to be,
this,
in my opinion.
that it's not new if you think about it. It's
yeah.
It's
not
not.
new. It's not new. It's as old as time, because all it is getting back to, from the male perspective, all it is getting back to is when men were the breadwinners
Mm,
and women had little power.
mm,
That really is what that gets back to. Now
mm,
we've got this new added problem that women are earning as much, and in some case out earning, and we have not figured out how to deal with this new normal. And the money is part of the damn problem, that we
mm.
are not respecting each other. You said at the top of the hour, Tanisha, you said it's interesting that when we describe ourselves, we describe what we do and not
Yeah.
as much who we are.
Mhm.
Mm,
It's the same. And I think
yeah.
until we can, you know, Tanisha, you and I were having a conversation some weeks ago about another topic that is in pop culture. And you and I, again, were on different sides of the conversation. Um, but where we landed was
Mm-hmm.
we all need to think about just being kind. Damn, it's very basic. I mean, if we all just focused on treating each other well,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what can I get from you, the transaction that you mentioned, Alex, be in a
Hmm.
better place, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the kindness. I think that even deeper, I think that we gotta heal things within us. I think that's where it starts. I think
Yeah.
that going back to what we said, I think money is a problem. I mean, it can be looked at, but I think that the deeper issue is, I think women, one, if you've been let down by a man so many times in your life, you look to not need one. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna say, "I don't need you," because I'm afraid of being, ultimately, I'm afraid of being let down by you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that self sabotage that can be created by that when you do come across a man that isn't the things that let you down, but you still project that onto him. That
Mm-hmm.
happens,
Mm-hmm.
and there are men who need to heal things within themselves. You know what I'm saying? They may not have the healthiest relationship with women,
Yep.
or with themselves. So they out here running amok. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Those things
Mm-hmm.
are the prop. Those things are, I think, the bigger. If we can get to that and learn to heal that, that will solve a whole lot.
Alex,
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, you're calling out some generational traumas and how
Absolutely.
like how society maybe has contributed to those generational traumas, right? Like you think about like the 80s, the 90s, or what the black family was in the 50s versus the 60s versus the 70s versus the 80s versus the 90s, so on and so forth. Um, and you also are calling out a piece around like, your core beliefs. If I believe my core belief is that men ain't shit, I'm going to ultimately perpetuate. I'm going to do two things. I'm either going to overcompensate. I'm going to date a man who ain't shit. I'm going to take care of him, or I'm going to date a man who ain't shit and then, call him out for it. So you perpetuate the sort of like mentality that you have. That's been psychologically proven.
Absolutely.
So I think what you're calling out is very astute. I just wonder two things. I wonder, like, one, how do we fix this? And
Mm-hmm.
two, like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about my son. I have a son and a daughter. Um, and some of the comments that he makes, I'm like, where are you getting that from? And apparently
Mhm.
it's from Instagram or from like
Absolutely.
like
Mm-hmm.
Tracy and him. I feel like I can catch them on like they spend the same amount of hours on Instagram or TikTok. It's like they're competing with each other between Tracy and Kyron. And so I'm like, he's probably seeing the same thing that you're seeing, and I'm not seeing it. So
If he's
he's
saying
has
that,
his
I am
negative
I am
narrative.
afraid. I would
Yeah,
tell
I
you if
am
he's
too.
saying the
That's my
stuff I'm
point.
Yeah.
saying, I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. It's very disturbing. It's
Yeah.
very disturbing.
Yeah.
And the music he's listening to.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Exactly.
it's it's very disturbing. And so when we talk about, how do we start remedying this? I'm always trying to say, I don't like to feel that someone else has control over my destiny. I can't stand it. Um,
Hmm.
I cannot wait for other people to do the right thing. I cannot. That's too long of a game for me.
Mhm.
So, Alex, when we started out, you know, rightfully so, from your perspective, you started to talk to us about the power of music. And so,
Hmm.
I would encourage us, all of us, to start playing more of those love songs that are from Black artists in our homes, so that we hear it, so that it becomes part of our daily narrative, so that our kids hear it.
Yep.
Um, you know, we are a society that equates success with money and not character.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's so funny because, people talk about what is your purpose? What is your purpose? And I don't know that I've ever been able to answer that until now at 63.
Mm.
And my purpose is to make sure that the people who are in my circle, my friends, my family, my colleagues, my listeners, that they feel loved and cared about. That's
Hmm.
more important to me than any amount of money I can make, any sort of professional success I can have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to, I don't think that when we think about raising our kids, you start out when they're little, with the whole kindergarten thing about the importance of being kind and being helpful and a good person. But we really move more toward, what grades did you make? What school you're going to go to? What
Yep.
job are you going to get? We don't continue to push the narrative of be a good person,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and yes, I agree that we have a lot of internal healing to do. Um, but I think the small can go a long way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
change what you're listening to every day. And I'm not saying,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, I am a 63-year-old hip hop fan, and everybody damn well knows it. And I am many times embarrassed about how much I love the beat, and I have no idea what they're saying. And when I figure out what they're saying, I am outraged. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest with myself about that. I need to do better with what I am listening to, and wherever I can, I need to be promoting being of good character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. You said something too about I think your circle is another thing
Yeah.
that helps
Sure.
with that. You have the right circle. If
Yes.
you
Sure.
as a woman, if you if you're pursuing a relationship but you're around other women who are all single and don't have the right mindset or don't have the right look on relationships, that can have an effect. That can have an effect on you. But if you're around other women who do have a positive outlook on relationships and are married or this, that, and the third, they can guide you appropriately as a man. If you're a man that's around um, even men in other relationships that they stepping out and they're not moving the right way, that's
Yep.
gonna have an effect. But if you're around men that are men of high character, men of high values, doing the right thing, you know pushing you to be a better man in your relationship, that's gonna have a great effect on you as well. I'm thankful to have that.
Hmm.
And I do have other challenges when it comes to relationships, more so dealing with what we're talking about,
Mhm.
us facing each other's trauma, having to navigate through each other's trauma that exists.
Hmm.
But to have the right people around me that to help guide me, like, listen, you need to have a little bit of patience with this, or you didn't handle that the right way, you
Mhm.
Hmm.
know.
Mhm.
I'm thankful to have that. Somebody tell me, no, you didn't handle that the right way. If somebody says,
Yeah.
nah, man, yeah, she tripping, bro. You need to, nah, fuck that. You need to move. No, 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 no. What you need to do is
Yep.
go over here. You know,
Yep.
um, your circle goes a long way, and I think
Hmm.
that Tanisha, how you opened it, I think that's why I said that's such a beautiful. You have such a beautiful perspective because you're an example of like you don't allow that nonsense, and I don't get the sense that you're not even aware of a lot of the nonsense, and I think that
Mhm.
because you are guiding, you are help guiding your village the right way, and I think that's what I aspire to do, and I think we should all do that. We should all aspire to do that.
I want to
No, I
say something
appreciate
that
that.
jumped out at me, Alex, while you were talking. You said you mentioned or earlier you were giving a description of what is deemed in pop culture a high value man or a high value woman. And I
Hmm.
just want to point out that in no place, nowhere, when that is being described, a high value man or a high value woman, do they talk about character.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere. They
Or have
talk
high
about
value.
what's
That
that?
that's the
Mm-hmm.
irony. or having high values. They're not talking about
Exactly.
value. That's the
They're not talking
irony
about
of
values.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. They're talking about things and money. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is definitely, a place where we need to get back to. And you also mention community and having folks who will call you on your stuff. And I
yes,
think that's equally true with women. I'm going to be honest with you. And y'all know I'm a woman's woman. I'm a girl's girl, girl power, all the above. But I think one of the things that we do a disservice to each other with is when a lot of us, when a woman tells her girlfriend about her man or her husband or whatever in an argument, a disagreement they had, what women tend to do is say, girl, you all that. You girl, he ain't whatever. And sometimes it's like, you're delusional. You are
Right.
delusional. You are not doing your part. You are not. I mean,
Right.
um, and I feel like speaking of like that community piece, like you are a part of my community that will check me and that will be like,
yes.
listen, you're tripping, or this
Yes.
was wrong that he did, but this ain't right that you did. Like it's you always hold like the mirror up versus like
Mm-hmm.
this. But Alex, I'm gonna have to like just say, I feel like a lot of men don't like. I feel like as a women, sometimes you, in my perspective, and maybe it's my lived experience, I feel like you have that, whereas men don't have enough men to push them. They don't have enough men to counter like that narrative. They don't have enough men to say if they're arguing with their wife or whatever, or their partner, to say, all right, validate their feeling, but then give them a little bit of like, all right, but this is how you go back and fix that.
Yeah.
So um, I concur, but I just wonder, um, and probably again because I'm married, I wonder if what's the data around really around like how many men have that community versus how many women have that community where they can
Yeah.
get that pushback.
Yeah, the proper leadership. I think women definitely do, but I think I actually just saw this thing about why women live longer than men. It's because you guys have a better sense of community.
Yes.
Whenever a problem arises, y'all call each other. Y'all be
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
"Girl, this is what's going on." Men be like, "No, I'm gonna figure it out myself."
Yep.
You know,
Right.
there's
Yes.
there's and and that's a lot. Like a lot of men have trouble opening up, or because it's like I got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. As a
I don't
man,
understand that.
you're supposed. I mean, that's what had been pushed. I mean,
Yes, it is what it's been pushed.
generationally, and then
Yes.
you have you can't express your feelings.
Yeah.
Now they have this whole thing. If a man is too expressive, he's sassy. I don't know if you've seen
Right.
this. Like they talk
Exactly.
about a man is sassy because he's too expressive. So you got to be stoic and nonchalant. So that means you got to keep all this stuff in. And yeah, that plays
That's
a role too. So
toxic.
then, because you holding stuff in
Very
so much,
toxic. But
very
it's true.
toxic.
But
It,
it's
it it
true.
manifests itself in different ways. So that's why instead of me not be instead of if me and my girl, if she's saying all this stuff to me, but I can't express myself, well then I go somewhere else to deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm gonna have some on the side because
Yeah.
she not gonna argue with me. She that therein lies
Yeah.
uh, another problem. And men
Yeah.
don't have a proper leadership, um, a good circle of proper leadership. A lot
Yeah.
of us don't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm thankful that I do, but a lot of men don't.
Yeah.
And whoever their circle is, it's like the blind leading the blind because they ain't really moving the right way. So if you're around people that are not moving the right way, you're not gonna move the
Yeah.
right way. So
Well,
I know some of those circles. I do
so
have
the other
guy
thing I want
friends
to
that
add to
are
the list
in
of
those
do's and
circles for sure.
don'ts, men and women, don't be a side
yeah,
piece.
yeah, and so
Do
and
not.
let me say this too. And let me say this too. I feel like women, y'all be attracted to that. Y'all like the toxic.
Oh, Alex.
It's almost like
Okay.
if a
No,
man
no,
is
no.
too put together, oh,
No.
it's like damn, I got nothing to fix. I got nothing to
Oh,
fix. I ain't
Interesting.
y'all always looking for a project. Y'all always looking for a project. And that's why I said,
Wow.
oh damn, I gotta get a little more toxic out here because I be getting damn like I be getting treated like that though. Damn, you want me to be a toxic ass nigga? Okay, let me dip back into that bag.
Wow. Wow.
Because it's like, damn, y'all need a fixer upper.
Pick it up.
If I I done a lot of work to get myself to a place, but y'all making me feel like, damn,
Can,
I might not need to do it.
let me ask you this question though. How old are these women? Are they in their 20s?
20s, 30s, 40s.
I don't know.
I'm
I
gonna
feel,
keep quiet after that. But
I
yeah,
feel
like
like I feel like younger. I feel like when I was younger, that probably was true. I don't want to fixer upper at this stage in my life, like because
But
you don't flip the house, and then you see they're in a relationship after you, and now they're able to be functional.
that's because you have done the internal work, Tanisha.
mm-hmm,
There are so many people who have not. So
mm-hmm,
you are no
I'm
longer
just
attracted to
delusional.
that.
I'm just delusional, essentially.
Let me say this. I have to agree with Alex that there still are too many men and women who are attracted to toxic or crazy.
yeah,
I mean, I hate to say that, but there are. I mean, there just like there are men who like the or women who like the toxic men. I saw on I think it was on Instagram. A woman saying, "Oh, I love me a cheater." What?
yeah,
What? What?
yeah,
Um, and there are men who like their women a little bit crazy. I'm sorry. They
mm-hmm,
like them. You know, she gonna come over and be outside the house yelling and carrying on, set something on fire. You know, I'm
right,
just saying. I'm
right.
just. I'm just.
No, that's
Auntie
fact.
knows. I'm telling you. All
No,
right,
that's fact.
guys. I think we have beat this one to death. And I love talking to both of y'all and getting y'all's perspectives because we certainly did line up on different sides of the fence from time to time. But
Yeah.
at the end, we all are coming from a place of wanting better for
Mm-hmm.
our people and everybody else. And so I think that's a good thing. Tanisha, tell folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. That's the irony, right? I'm on Instagram, but not really. Friends Consulting is my handle on Instagram.
And Alex.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and my handle is at Alex Jack, my name. Oh yes, my show is a la carte. It is on Amazon Prime. The actual network is All Black. So if you download All Black through Amazon Prime, you can find it there. Season 2. And we'll be shooting season 3 in the next couple months.
Awesome, y'all.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, you guys. Yeah, it was a good talk. We're gonna have to have a part 2 of this too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.